Hello students. Today in this video we will be discussing about the measurement of national income by income method. This is the second method of calculating national income. Before we continue with this, let me tell you that with the help of this income method, we will be calculating both domestic income as well as national income. But before that, let me tell you how it is going to discuss about the income. It is calculated by adding factor incomes generated by all the factors of production in an accounting year. If you discuss further, we will be able to see that this income is generated by all factors of production within the domestic territory, then it becomes domestic income. That means incomes are generated by all the factors of production inside the domestic territory in an accounting year. We will be taking it as domestic income. But instead of domestic territory, if we consider that incomes are generated by all the factors of production by the normal residents of a country in an accounting year, then it becomes national income. To be more precise, we can say that it is summation of factor incomes, that is rent, interest, wages and profit. So by adding all the three factor incomes, we can arrive at domestic income and national income. Now let us see how it can be. The components of domestic income in the income method. This factor income, which we were discussing as rent, interest, profit and wages, these are the incomes earned by factors of production. But it is going to be very difficult if we take it this way. To make it more clear and more wider in concept, this factor income is divided among three categories, main three categories. First is compensation of employees. Compensation of employees means that employees or the workers, they are working, they are rendering their physical and mental services. For that, they get wages in cash, they get wages in kind, and they also get some other benefits, which the term wages do not consider. So instead of using the word wages, we call it as compensation of employees, or you can say income from work can be said as compensation of employees. On the other hand, the second part is your operating surplus. Operating surplus means it is the income from property, that is rent, rent, interest and royalty, and the income from entrepreneurship, which is known as profit. So these are the two main components of operating surplus, and this further is divided among the different categories. So you know, you are familiar with the word rent, interest and profit, but you are not familiar with the royalty. We'll be discussing it in the next slide, but these are the components which we call it as factor income as well as, but we, to make it more wider, use it in the name of operating surplus. The third one is mixed income. Mixed income is basically that part of factor income which cannot be separately known as compensation of employees or operating surplus. Or you can say that part of income which is earned by the person jointly by rendering all its factors of production on its own, and it is difficult to differentiate among the other factor income. So we categorize them in one head, that is mixed income. So here is your income from entrepreneurship, that is profit, which is further subdivided into three, that is corporate tax, dividend and undistributed profit. We'll be discussing these heads separately one by one in the slides. So first of all, we will be taking as compensation of employees. As I've already told you that this is the wages which is given to the employees for their physical and mental work. because it may be in cash, it may be in kind. So we categorize them in a particular category known as wages and salaries. So wages and salaries in cash includes all the remunerations, all the payments which a employee receives in cash. That includes basic, dearness allowance, bonus, house rent allowance, leave travel concession or leave travel allowance or medical allowance, entertainment allowance, etc. All such kind of allowances which a worker gets in the form of wages in cash. On the other hand, there is another category which the labor gets is the wages in kind, that is which is given in physical form, that means in the form of goods and services. So like the workers or the employees, they get rent-free accommodation, that means free quarter, free electricity, free uniform, medical facilities like hospitals and all, then interest-free loans or subsidized lunch or subsidized foods. So all that which is received by the worker or the employee in the form of kind, in the form of goods and services, we take it as wages and salaries in kind. So together when we add these two, we arrive at wages and salaries. And if wages and salaries is given separately, so we will not consider these two separately. The second main head of this compensation of employee is employer's contribution to social security. Actually, when worker works, he gets the wages at the very same time, or he gets certain amount of payment after a period of time, that is after the service period, or even at times when they are in need, at times when there is a problem with them. So in that particular contribution, employers make some kind of benefits, that is the benefit given to the employee in the form of social security. So that is like contribution to life insurance made by the employers, group insurance in the name of employees made by the employers, provident fund which is given by the employer to its employees, and even the retirement pensions contribution made by the employers are considered to be a part of social security contributions. So this is another heading which is actually not received by the worker while they are working. They are received when they are not able to work, maybe due to some accident, maybe due to some disease or some kind of other health problems, or maybe due to the age factor, that is after the retirement. So when we add wages and salaries and employers' contribution to social security, these two together becomes the compensation of employees. So now you must have come to know that why we are not taking wages only. The factor payment wages is now replaced with the broader concept of compensation of employees, and thus we take compensation of employees as an important component of income method. Now next is your operating surplus. Operating surplus is, in other words, you can call it as income from property, that is rent and royalty and even interest. And income from entrepreneurship, that is profit. So first of all, we'll be taking as rent and royalty. What is rent? Rent is the factor income earned from lending the services of the property, like giving out the building, giving out the land to the people to use its services. So that income is generated against the use of these kind of assets, that becomes rent. Royalties, in other words, is received in the form of income when granting leasing rights or patent rights or copyrights. That means any such kind of innovative ideas or ideas or products which are solely owned by a particular person, and that is leased out to be used by others, so that rights generate some kind of income, and that is what you call it as royalty. Interest. Interest is the income from lending the funds to the various producers or producing units for investment purposes. So that generates interest. So these two together becomes your income from property. These three becomes income from property, and this is under the heading of rent and royalty and interest. Now, income from entrepreneurship is a reward of entrepreneur. It is actually a residual income. That means after distributing wages, rent, interest, whatever is left with the entrepreneur, he keeps it as a profit, as a reward for his skills, as a reward for his taking risk. This profit has got three headings. Profit includes tax, which the entrepreneur has to deposit with the government as on the profit. Tax on profit, you can call it as corporate tax. So that has to be paid out to the government. The second one is dividend. Dividend is the part of profit which is distributed among the shareholders. That means the one who has purchased the shares of that particular company. So to them, dividend is given. And whatever is left with the producer now to be maintained to meet out the unexpected contingencies, that is what you call it as undistributed profit. It is also known as corporate profit, or it is also known as savings of private corporate sector, or it is also known as retained earnings. So this is the one which is actually left, and it is also known as reserve fund to be used by the various producing units to be maintained by them to meet unexpected expenses. Now the next third category is mixed income. The mixed income means income of self-employed person or income of own account workers. Own account workers, that means he himself is the worker, he himself is the owner of the property, he himself is the entrepreneur, or he himself is the owner of 4 factors of production. So in that case, it is going to be difficult for them to divide the income into 4 categories or 3 categories. So that is why we put it under the mixed income. So this is your 3 main components of national income. Now we arrive at the formula. Formula says that income method is equal to, as I have already said, that it has got 3 components. So compensation of employees plus operating surplus plus mixed income, together we get is NDPFC. That means the domestic income. This is this very simple, and this is the most easiest with minimum steps method, because we, by adding these main components, these 3 main components, we straight away arrive at domestic income. That means NDPFC. Now NDPFC, from NDPFC we plus the NFIA, that means with the NDPFC we add NFIA, we arrive at national income. So that is how we arrive at national income. Just 2 steps and we reach to domestic income, and then directly from there to national income. This is the only method which calculates the income in net and at factor cost. So if you are calculating domestic income and national income, we don't have to consider depreciation in this method. We don't have to consider NIT here, because we straight away arrive at the required destinations. If we have to calculate in some other category or in some other aggregates, then we do have to consider these 2 things. So remember, only 2 steps, compensation of employees plus operating surplus plus mixed income, we arrive at domestic income, and from there, from domestic income plus NFIA, we reach at national income. So this is your income method. Now let us see the steps involved in it. The steps involved includes First is identification of enterprises employing factors of production. That means all those enterprises which are employing land, labor, capital and entrepreneur. So we have to identify that first. Then we have to classify the factor payments into various categories, that is compensation of employees, operating surplus and mixed income. That means we need to know that in which category the income is going to fall. After that, we estimate the amount of factor payment made by each enterprises to them. That means how much factor payment is being paid to them. Last, we sum up these factor incomes, that is all the factor incomes, and we reach or we are able to compute domestic income. And domestic income, we add NFIA, we calculate national income. So the last step is estimate national income by adding NFIA to NDP FC. So these are the steps. Very easy samples, very easy and simple steps. So need not to make it more complicated and fussy. Very simple steps. So be careful about that. But need to consider some kind of precautions. So let us see what are the precautions. Precautions are that when we are calculating national income by income method or domestic income by income method, we need to calculate imputed rent, imputed value of goods and services, and commissions from sale and purchase of second-hand goods. That means commissions. If any commission is earned by the commission agent in the process of sale and purchase of second-hand goods or sale and purchase of scraps, that commission need to be included because the services rendered by the agent is first time. So we need to include that in the income. Sale and purchase of second-hand goods need not to be included, as I've already told you that income from sale and purchase of second-hand goods, income from sale and purchase of scraps and waste, income from sale and purchase of shares and debentures or bonds will not be included. Why? Because it has already been included in the year in which they are produced. And the shares are financial capital, so against physical capital. So if we are going to consider it again, it will be leading to double counting. So we will not include that as well. Last but not the least, that is income from illegal activities will not be included here. So these are the steps we need to take care while estimating national income. So that's all about your income method, and this is the most easiest and simple method of calculating national income. In the next slide, we'll be discussing about the expenditure method. In the next video, we'll continue with the expenditure method. Thank you.